The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. It is 5 a.m. on this Tuesday. I'm Alex Fisher alongside Tully Anderson.
This morning, we are learning more about the two men who killed each other on Christmas Eve. 17's Marco Torres has the latest.
The story has caused a lot of speculation far and wide online. Bakersfield police have given us little confirmation of what actually happened here on Christmas Eve. What police have said is that two men shot each other to death, one of those men being an estranged boyfriend of a female who lived at this home. It was a very foggy Christmas Eve morning that one neighbor says his family heard everything.
My son and his fiance and their newborn were in the room sleeping, and he heard banging. The banging sounds were the gunshots. I heard about 3 or 4. My wife heard all of them.
Herrera says an ominous mourning wail could be heard throughout the neighborhood.
There was a person crying, a female voice crying, and then we got all quiet. It's really quiet.
That's around when the call came into police.
This occurred 9702 Snowden Avenue for 2 males who both shot each other.
Both men were found dead inside the home. Herrera says he's lived at his home for 17 years and that this neighborhood is a stranger to violent crime.
The scary thing that we've ever seen is just trying to corral dogs from wanting to go out to Old River. But as far as anything like this, we've never had anything like this before over here.
Herrera says he's seen children at the home. 2 were older elementary school kids and 1 was a high schooler. Police have not yet confirmed who was inside the home when the shooting happened, but said no one else was injured. We're waiting for more information to be released, including the names of those who were involved. From Southwest Bakersfield, Marco Torres, 17 News.
Also this morning, new details on what led up to a deadly shooting between a Ridgecrest woman and her boyfriend earlier this month. 23-year-old Renee Molina is accused of shooting and killing Joseph Loza Jr. at a home on East Wilson Avenue earlier this month. According to documents obtained by 17 News, Molina was hosting a party to celebrate her birthday. She and her boyfriend danced with friends late into the evening until she got sick and went to bed. Most people left the house later that night, except Molina, her boyfriend, and a 17-year-old girl. Early the next morning, Molina woke up and found Loza and the teen making out, according to reports. And that's when she grabbed a gun. A man who was on the phone with Loza told police he heard him in the background saying, quote, "You're not going to shoot me, are you, babe?" The man then heard a loud pop. Molina is due back in court next month.
The coroner is working to identify the man killed in a crash in Northwest Bakersfield early yesterday morning. It happened just before 7 a.m. on Coffee Road, just north of Brimhall. Now, according to Bakersfield police, it all started when the driver of a gardening truck pulled over on the side of the road to change a tire. The truck was then hit by an SUV, leaving the man dead and his passenger with serious injuries. The driver of the SUV is cooperating with investigation, and police say drugs or alcohol were not involved in this crash, but speed and foggy conditions may have been the factor.
And after days of extreme winter weather across much of the country, Southwest Airlines now says it will operate at 1/3 its schedule for the next several days. The move to reduce scheduled flights is all part of an effort by Southwest Airlines to clear up the backlog of stranded passengers from its forced cancellations of nearly 3,000 flights yesterday. The airline canceled roughly 70% of its schedule, while other airlines have struggled too with cancellations and delays from that winter storm last week. Southwest canceled flights were 10 times higher than those of Delta Airlines, with flight attendant union representatives citing Southwest's lack of technology upgrades and adding to the holiday travel misery over this past week.
As the gift-giving holiday comes to a close, there are some gifts that will end up back in stores. NBC's Vicki Nguyen has tips for a smooth gift return.
The great news here is most retailers still have pretty relaxed return policies, but not all of them. I have everything you need to know to make sure you get the maximum refund.
First, the rush to get presents under the tree, and now the rush to return some of those gifts for cash or store credit. Analysts predict $135 billion worth of products will be returned this holiday season, up from the previous record of $120 billion last year. In response, 60% of retailers have changed their return policies this year, citing rising costs, with more charging return and restocking fees. Zara and H&M recently joined a growing list of retailers that charge a return fee ranging from $4 to $8. But as I showed you last year, there are ways to maximize the value of your return.
So maybe you get that gift that you're not so keen on? Okay, the first thing to do, make sure you don't remove it from the original packaging. Even though stores are pretty generous with their return policies these days, they're a lot more likely to give you a cash refund rather than store credit if they can resell the item. Yeah, this is going back.
Avoid accidentally throwing away the gift receipt with your wrapping paper. No receipt might mean no refund.
If you do lose the receipt, your options are to re-gift the item or have that awkward conversation with the person who gave you the gift to see if they have a receipt. If not, you can bring it back to the store. Most will give you a store credit, but be prepared, some won't.
For in-person returns,
make sure that you bring your ID. Most stores will ask for it, even if you didn't buy the item. They're trying to cut down on people who abuse return policies. And guys, when you're inside the store, make sure you're nice to the employee. Oftentimes, they have discretion on whether or not to accept that return.
Amazon accepts returns at Amazon Go, Whole Foods, and even Kohl's locations. Most other retailers, including Walmart, Target, Best Buy, and Apple, will also accept online returns in person at their stores. But to avoid an in-store return,
print out the label at home and then make sure that you package up that item carefully and either schedule a pickup or take it directly to the shipper.
Despite stricter policies, many retailers have extended holiday return windows. Apple allows holiday purchases to be returned through January 8th. Amazon's 30-day and Walmart's 90-day policies are being replaced by a January 31st holiday return window. Bed Bath & Beyond, Home Depot, and Lowe's have 90-day return policies. Kohl's 180 days. And Costco will let you return products at any time, except for electronics, which have a 90-day return window.
If it's footwear or clothing, just make sure you don't wear that item out until you know that you want to keep it. Stores do have the right to refuse a refund if the items look used or they're heavily soiled. A good rule of thumb, if it's in a state that you wouldn't buy it in, your refund will probably be rejected. However, if the product is damaged or defective, the retailer will almost always give you a refund or at least let you exchange it.
It's easier than ever to return your unwanted gifts, especially if you're prepared with these simple tips.
Now keep in mind, billions of pounds in returned items ends up in landfills because they can't be resold. So consider regifting or donating your unwanted items. And if you receive a gift card that you won't use, you can resell it online or donate it to a charity.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.